Welcome to Season 20, Week 12's edition of This Week in the SFL. Along with Paul Sarp, I'm Cameron Irvine. And Paul, I think Upset City is officially here. What a Week 12. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great, Cam, and what a week of football we just had. Bunch of upsets, bunch of things happening that nobody expected to happen, and we're here on Impact Monday to wrap it all up for everyone.
I think the Survivor pool had 16 survivors before the week. They now have 7 after
falling down.
The favorites were savaged at the top of the standings. We'll get to more and more of that and all of your highlights. Ashley Jackson is back this week after a week off, so we're excited about that. Mike O'Neill now recuperating. Tyler Falk and Chris Curtis have halftime and post on Impact Monday. Atlanta and Indianapolis coming up a little later. But first, we get to the headlines as we do every week, and we start with the Carolina Skyhawks flying high. Carolina hands Baltimore one of its worst losses ever. Strengthens their playoff hopes, and we'll get to their playoff hopes at the end of the show. Houston's collecting trophies once again. 5th straight victory. They now have to wait for chaos next week. They, along with Alamo City, their Week 14 opponent, are on bye. And the Ice Wars to remember. Late block punt by the stat man. Rosca Santagria turns the tables on Vegas. Free falling, Paul, after a 7-1 start. Where do you want to start?
As far as where I want to start, I want to look into that Carolina-Baltimore game, Cam. What a game that was.
The Carolina Skyhawks, they seem to be down in the dumps, Paul. They had just lost to San Diego, kind of blew an opportunity to pick up a quality win in the middle of the standings and failed to do so. They came in 17.5-point underdogs against the 3-time defending champs and unquestioned best team in the SFL right now, the Baltimore Vultures, until they had to play the game. Early on, the writing was on the wall, Paul, as Warren Murray fumbles from behind. Look at the football. Somehow Baltimore able to recover. And you're thinking, if you're a Vulture fan, whoo, that was I'm not sweating. You're sweating. We're fine. We're okay. So Baltimore retains possession. They keep the football. Later in that drive, well, that's not good. A blocked field goal. Carolina is frisky early on against their rivals, the Baltimore Vultures, and we're still scoreless. In the red zone, Matt South, chance to put points on the board. And Ben Stackenpaper, who we have seen on this show about 15 times in the last month, Paul, makes the play. It's the turnover, so we're still scoreless 4 minutes into the ball game. Baltimore's next possession, Jack Wigmore throws an interception. Trevin Prasad with the pick just before his wedding, making things happen. We're still scoreless. All right, let's get to some offense now. Matt South down for up 3-0, hits Harish Prasad, and Carolina scores 10-zip. Baltimore in a bit of trouble. Not worrying too much yet until Ike McBride started moving. Gets into the end zone, makes it 17-7 in the second quarter. Harish Prasad, $4 super chat. Damn right, we're getting frisky. Halfway through the second. Wigmore with Murray to his right will fire it not to Murray, but instead right at the last second. Lincoln Kingseed picks the ball off. A rare mistaken judgment there from Jack Wigmore. Carolina gets the ball back now, 20-7, just before the half. Ike McBride, it was a coming out party for Paul.
Absolutely. Ike McBride had an absolutely monster game against Baltimore, and as we saw in that play, sprinting past defenders, and I hope we see it later, trucking defenders over. Just a great game for Ike McBride all around. Just
before the end of the half, Ike McBride bulling over people. Tackle by Bolt at the 6-yard line, trying to finish what she started. It'll be Hattori Hanzo, as Andy Hamilton said on the broadcast. Yeah, as he gets in. There it is. Gets into the end zone. 27-7. Okay, third quarter. Second half's going to be different, right? Jack Wigmore deep. Oh, it's picked again. Monte Wyatt with the interception. That's no good. Carolina takes would eventually take a 30-7 lead, but not before Ike McBride does some more of that. Running over Elijah Warfield 30-7 now. Last chance for Baltimore. Wigmore. Nope, that's not going to work either. Tristan Hatley with the pick, and Ashley Jackson caught up with Harish Prasad after the game.
And I am featuring a good friend of mine, Mr. Harish Prasad. He is co-owner as well as wide receiver for the Carolina Skyhawks that are coming off a fantastic win over the Baltimore Vultures. Tell me how you feel right.
Pretty damn good. That was I'm gonna be real with you. I didn't think it was gonna be like that. I felt pretty good about the game plan, but I think it was gonna go like that.
I mean, the thing is with you guys, it's and I think a lot of people would agree that it's difficult to plan for you guys because you don't know which Carolina is going to show up. And I think you guys kind of have that to your advantage because you don't know what to really prepare for. Tonight, it seemed like to be a fantastic defensive battle on your part. I mean, I believe it was it 6 or 7 interceptions?
Yeah, I think it was, last I thought it was 6, but somebody said 7 turnovers, but I don't know if that's right or not. There were a couple of times I had to step away, so I don't know if there was something I missed or not.
Okay, so defensively, did you scout maybe other teams that have beaten Baltimore in the past, or did you actually come up with this on your own?
No, I didn't. If you're asking if I stole someone's gameplay, that's not what I did. It's very similar to what I ran last week. I'll put it that way.
Okay. Well,
I'll say because we had the couple of week stretch where versus Arizona and versus Las Vegas where our defense got whooped up on. So I made some changes versus San Diego and they seemed to work. So I kind of kept into that general direction.
well, that's what smart coaches do, You adjust. So in this game against Baltimore, what was your favorite part? I mean, besides winning, of course. Like, was there particular plays that you saw that you put in your playbook and it just went a whole hell of a lot better than you expected?
It was not necessarily what we had in there that was working. It was when with the offense, it was fine-tuning really what we had from last week, which last week our offense didn't look great, but it was fine-tuning what we had because we know what we have works, but it's just getting the AI to actually call those plays and getting Ike actually in plays where she's very efficient, and she had a really good game tonight, and she was a big reason why we won, other than our secondary absolutely eating tonight. But it was probably one of the most complete games of football we've had in a very long time.
Yeah, I love to see it, man. I told Skippy the last time we talked that you guys are like like a brother-sister team to us. So when you guys win, well, we kind of celebrate that. So congratulations on your win, Harish. I wish y'all the best of luck for the rest of the season, and I can't wait to see how you guys are going to play for the rest of the way.
Yeah, we've got now we're sitting at 5-5. We've got 2 pretty big games coming up, so our strength of victory is there. So if we can win these last 2 games, I think we've got a pretty good chance at making the playoffs, and that's where we want to be.
Indeed. And I hope to see you there. I really do.
It would be great to make it there. And before we end this, I did want to say to Mac Chima, I just wanted to say thanks for coming. Good night and drive home safely.
Loud and clear. I'm sure he read that.
Hopefully.
Thanks, Harish.
Thank you. Take care.
Too. Hey, I'm Polly. Back to you.
Ooh. Mac Chima talks a good game, and he usually can back up that talk. Not this week in Harish. Heard enough of that, apparently. $2 super chat from Jack Wall. Coaching change in Baltimore incoming. Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, after 2 losses on the season.
So.
Ooh, man.
I don't know. I don't. Yeah, I doubt it. I think that's just going to make them more upset for anybody who has to play them next, and that is unfortunately Las Vegas. We'll get to more of them in a minute. But Paul, that was big upset. Congratulations to Carolina That probably was the only upset of the week, right? Right?
I don't know about that, Cam. I think there might be a couple more. And
How about
this next one?
how about another top 4 team that was in trouble? Third play of the game, Seattle at Tulsa, and Zach Patton. I still don't know how he got that wide open. Now, this is nothing new for Seattle. They always score touchdowns on their opening drive. It's finishing games that have been more of the problem, but Zach Patton gets in the end zone. Seattle's up 7-0. Trellis Blanton, oh, well, that's kind of what I was just talking about. Lee Palmer with the pick, and got to finish these games off. Douglas Brown on the sideline, pushing grown men into the end zone. Tulsa would tie it up late in the first quarter. Crowd at Lucy Red Stadium loving that. Tulsa 7-2, have a golden opportunity to take advantage of Baltimore losing, and Douglas Brown trying to do just that. In the second quarter, breaks away, shoestring, tackle made at the 12. Tulsa's in good shape. A few plays later, DJ Hume, bottom of the screen. Check out that matchup. Hume gets bumped, runs it out, stays in bounds, caught, touchdown. 14-10 Tulsa, they're back in front, and all is right with the sim world. 17-10. And just before the half, Doug Day, one-hand stab with the speed. He's going, gone. Tie game just before the end of the half, and that was the momentum switch. Third quarter, 20 seconds in. JQ picked off by David Horrell. This Seattle defense got mean, and they got mean quick, Paul. Horrell with his first pick of the game. And it's the truth. Seattle has the lead in the second half. 24-17. Paulie Truth with the touchdown. Next possession.
Yeah, I know him.
Yeah, nice guy. Next possession for Tulsa. In fact, their first play of the drive. Oh, don't throw it that way. Oh, you got to be kidding me, Ethan Kai. Pick 6. Seattle's up 31-17. And that's how they win it, Paul. 31-20. They clamp down on Tulsa late. Your reaction to Seattle getting a huge win after a losing streak that is now snapped.
Oh, it's a great feeling to get a win against an incredibly tough team. And the season that Tulsa's had this season is extremely impressive. So to be able to go into their home stadium and come out with a victory, the vibes couldn't be any higher in Seattle. And we're excited to see what is on the horizon for us as a team.
So Atlanta's yet to play this week. Arizona was off this week, so we go to the number 5 team in the standings coming into the week, the Las Vegas Fury. Surely they weren't going to lose at home to the 2-7 Denver Nightwings in Vice Wars, right? Well, early on, it certainly looked that way. Doug Britton wide open for the touchdown from Eric Price, playing his former team, mind you, for the first time. 7-0 Vegas out in front. Next possession for Denver, and Gene Struthers throws it into traffic, and Justin Reside, for the third time in 7 career pick sixes, he's got another touchdown, Paul.
And Justin Reside having a phenomenal season for Las Vegas, as we saw for the third time. A touchdown returned, or an interception returned for a touchdown. That's just a great play from a great player.
14-0, and look at Silver State. It is jacked up. Denver would counter with Bailey O'Shaughnessy. Boy, was it nice to see him get going again after a tough last month. Denver on the board.
Yeah, Bailey O'Shaughnessy had an incredible start to his season, but as you mentioned, the last month kind of fallen off with, as Denver has as well, but incredible play there and a great job for him to get going.
Just before the half, Jeremy Mosley from the half-yard line scores, and we're tied at 14 entering the third quarter. And now Denver has all the momentum. Bailey O'Shaughnessy up, scores, makes it 21-17. Now this is where the game gets crazy, Paul. 2 minutes to go in the fourth. 4th and goal at the 2, and Eric Price throws an incompletion. But then on 3rd and 8 from the 4, Gene Struthers, the rookie. You cannot make that throw right there.
That is a throw I know Gene Struthers wishes he could have had back at that point in the game. And as a rookie, that's just something that over time he's going to learn and develop as a player. And I believe the future is looking bright for Gene Struthers and this Denver team as we move forward into the SFL.
Leighton over the middle, can't do that. So now Vegas with 1 minute and 44 seconds left is all set up. Now 4th and goal again at the 4, and Eric Price delivers. I thought it was going to be taken away by Rosca Santagria, but instead it's Prince Wonder with the touchdown. So 24-21. Final stages, Denver not giving up. Pass caught over the middle to set up Ye Verity, and we go to overtime. Now 3rd and 8 into field goal range. You can't take a sack there. And Eric Price does against his former team. So that brings out the punter, and it's blocked. And guess who it is? It's Rosca Santagria, the guy that almost had the pick to save the touchdown on 4th and goal in the 4th quarter. He gets the punt block and sets up Gene Struthers, and Gene says, it's my time. 3rd and 8, Logan Keel caught. 1st down. Another 3rd down late in the drive would come after they get into field goal range. Struthers again finds an open receiver over the middle to the 24. That's Riley Quintero. That sets up Ye Verity, the rookie, and the kick is good. 27-24. Vegas loses again to a team without a winning record. DC last week. Denver this week. Denver gets a huge win, moves to 3-7, and Vegas has lost 2 straight. And guess who they finished with, Paul? Arizona and Baltimore in their last 2 weeks of the season. So surely the number 6 seed London Knights would fare better, right? Right? To Houston we go, and Dave Burr, that's the wrong team. Mike Jones with the pick 6, he's gone. 7-0 London early, 5 minutes to go, and the Knights are looking A-OK. Houston's won 4 in a row, you know. Mike Jones plants the sword. Now it's Robert Merrill's turn. Next possession for London, 7-0. Hands it off to Merrill, and yeah, that's an untouched 6. 14-0. It was all Knights early, Paul.
And that's the Robert Merrill we saw all last season as he's starting to gain his form in season 20. Just a great run from Merrill on that last play.
Oh, but every great run deserves another. G.P. Wells gets the ball rolling down to the London 11 with Houston down 14-3. When you work that hard, you might as well let him finish off the drive. Not so fast. Dave Burr instead finds Mike St. Green, who's never missed an opportunity to cross the goal line. That's good. 14-10. London's lead is cut down to 4. Houston now leads, but just before the end of the half, London just continues to dominate 2-minute offense this season. They take a 21-17 lead into the locker room. Too much GP, though, in this game. Paul, 232 all-purpose yards for Ike McBride and over 200 rushing yards for G.P. Wells. He's out of here again.
And G.P. Wells doing G.P. Wells things, and that is running through defenders and running down the field for the Houston Headhunters.
136 at that point. Oh, you can't do that. Robert Merrill gives away a touchdown after Houston scored on that a touchdown on that G.P. Wells drive. 31-21, just like that in the 3rd quarter. Man, sloppy is the definition of London's season. They're 6-4, but man, they're making it as ugly as can be sometimes.
Absolutely, and the highlight to London is their offense is, as far as their defense goes, they've been struggling through 12 weeks of SFL action, and if they can make the right adjustments as far as the defensive side goes, I believe they're going to be a tough team come playoffs.
When London's not turning the ball over, they're brilliant. When they are, well, they're losing games. That pass is picked off by Diedrich Law on the final drive, 31-27. Houston gets the win. They have won 5 in a row. London falls to 6-4. No big deal. We'll find out more on why that's not a big deal in a moment. But first, Ashley Jackson caught up with the red-hot Damon Simeon.
Good friend of mine, Mr. Damon Simeon. He is the co-owner as well as Hall of Fame wide receiver for the Houston Headhunters. Welcome back, brother. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm great. Thanks for having me again.
You're very welcome. And I bet you are with this win over London. This puts you guys at a 5-game winning streak. And I remember the last time I talked to you, you said that you were going to grind hard and you were going to change things around. And you really have, man. So just to
I
kind of
mean,
give people,
no, go ahead. Sorry.
just to kind of give people perspective, right? So you lost your first and second game, the first week 1 and week 2, then you won
Yes.
week 3,
Hmm.
then you lost week 4, 5, and 6, and then you've been on this winning streak ever since that time. So what changed, without giving too much away, of course, but like what changed with your coaching or maybe your mindset?
Well, yeah, that's a great question because it all started from a psychological experience, right? I mean, I've lost tight ends, like crazy the past, 3, 4 seasons or so, and I said, okay, well, I got to figure out something to keep my tight ends. I want to keep these guys around. And when we bought Talon Steele over last season, we were expecting him to be, on board for quite some time. But make a long story short, that he didn't get that many touches last season, and so I said, okay, well, I got to figure out something to keep the tight ends around. Let me figure out a way how I could keep these guys, get these guys involved, and that's the way I built my playbook at the start of this season. We're during the off season. I built my playbook basically to try to get the tight end involved, and it just wasn't effective for the entire team. With that, you didn't see passes to DRCM or to Mike St. Green or even to Greg Corkett, deep down the field. Basically, we were just out routing and stuff like that. And so I said, okay, well, we're on this losing streak. I got to go back, to what we do best. And that's basically air it out and also get the run game more involved as well and just mix things up and become a more balanced team. I said, I have some things in here for the tight end, but I still got to get my main core guys involved as well, And so basically that's what happened. I just went back to what I know that we do best. And, it has been, a success for us.
Awesome stuff, man. With this game over London, though, what do you think was the secret to your success for this particular game? Because, they scored first, looked like, it was kind of a struggle for a second, but then y'all just turned on the burners and left them
Yeah.
behind.
I mean, that pick six, I'm going to answer your question, but that pick six, by Mike Jones. Who? Mike
Mike
Jones,
Jones.
it basically put them out front first with the first score of the game. I mean, it was the both defenses just did not want to lose this ball game, if you ask me. But I give kudos to our secondary coming out, staying on top, and forcing, what I think Pickler had 5 picks or so, somewhere up in there, 4 or 5. I'm not sure how many exactly, but yeah, we basically was on top of that and came out victorious, due to the strength of our defense. And those guys have been playing great defense all game long, I mean, all
Indeed.
season long. That's what I meant to say, all season long.
Indeed, man. Well, I am truly proud of the efforts that, when some people tell you they're going to do something, it might happen or it might not. But you told me that you're going to, you're going to start winning and you had to win out in order to make the playoffs. So right now you're on a good track to do so. So
Yeah.
congratulations.
Thank you so much. But looking at that playoff picture, we're still on the outside looking in. We need one more win, to make us at 7-5. Hopefully we can get in, but it looks like those guys that are like 6-3, 6-4, they ain't losing or whatever, So I need some of them guys to lose so we can slide on in there.
I know that's right, man. But either way, I wish you guys a fantastic season thus far. Fantastic turnaround. I wish you guys the best of luck for the rest of the season. And I can't wait to see what you guys do.
Thank you so much. Same here. We can't wait either. I'm pretty amped up, for Alamo City is who we have next. I'm pretty sure they're amped up as well to get things going on, and battle with us. And someone said it on the broadcast during our game. Houston has been has been playing playoff football. And I absolutely agree with that. We have been playing playoff football, and that was said by Tyler Falk. He's absolutely correct. Because if we don't win, we don't have a shot at making the playoffs. So we most definitely, each game is a one and done for us.
Well, like I said, I can't wait to see what you're going to do. All right.
Take care.
You too. Cam, Polly, back to you.
Thanks, Ashley. It was interesting, Damon's response to his kind of rebirth when the team was 1-5. You know, on the one hand, you could say, well, Houston doesn't really have other ways to win, but on the other hand, Paul, you got to know who you are as a team, and they've gone back to their identity, who they are, airing the ball out down the field. And as we transition into a new era for the SFL, having an understanding and knowing your identity is going to be more critical than ever as a team. So, you know, kudos to Damon for recognizing that before it was too late. It may end up being too late at the end of the day, but at least he's given himself basically a 50-50 shot down to stretch the end of the season.
Yeah, and what a run Houston's going on to start 1-3 and then turn it around and go on a 6-game win streak. It's just a huge shout out to DeMond and Houston for getting all these wins back to back and really making it an interesting playoff race. And their Week 14 matchup against Alamo City is, in my eyes, going to be one of the best games to watch of Week 14.
That playoff race updated is coming soon, but first, just to wrap things up, Paul, the top 4 teams who have played this week all lost, really for the first time since I can remember. So that's totally jumbled the entire playoff race. Just as an example, if Atlanta were to lose tonight, first place and 14th place would be separated by 2 games, Paul.
Wow.
So that's insane. So of those 4 losses, which one was the most shocking to you, Paul?
Most shocking to me had to be Baltimore's loss to Carolina. Jack Wigmore, entering the game with a 79.8 completion percentage, first in the league, was held to 53.7% against Carolina with 7 interceptions and 0 touchdowns. Ike McBride had a big game, and whole collective unit, as every user contracted player received a stat in the game against Baltimore.
Yeah, it was a great team effort. Now, I will say, you know, Baltimore had stumbles late in regular seasons. Then they rev up, and they are great in the playoffs. So from that standpoint, it wasn't a surprise. Vegas 14-0 up at home on a Denver team who is ready to move on was kind of stunning. I don't know how you blow that game. I don't know how you let the foot off the gas. So that's a problem for Vegas now. Did any loss change your opinion on anybody, or are we saying, well, they all lost, so it kind of doesn't really matter, they're all at the top end?
See, I'm going to turn what you just said about Vegas and say that Vegas is the team that I kind of have a changed opinion on. 2 weeks ago, Cam, you asked me if Las Vegas is going to have a first-round bye. I responded with no. They were 7-1 at the time. In 2 weeks, they've lost 2 games. They're now 7-3 and have one of the hardest schedules a team could have with Baltimore and Arizona on their schedule. So they could go from the number 1 seed at 7-1 and finish the season 7-5 if they aren't able to get a victory against the top teams in the league. They could possibly miss the playoffs. And I hope for Las Vegas that isn't the case. But they sure do have a tough task at hand with Baltimore and Arizona as the 2 remaining teams on your schedule.
That would be crazy. You know, I'm worried about JQ, Paul. 13 picks in the last 3 weeks. He's just not playing good football right now, and it's really doing harm to Tulsa's ceiling, I guess you could say. And it's lowering their floor too. I mean, they've got to figure out how to get JQ back to being efficient. We know that defense is tough, and obviously Seattle scored 31 points, but 14 of it was off their defense. So we know that Tulsa has a great defense. They just have to get it together. So we talked about Vegas snowballing. Do you see any of these other teams potentially collapsing? All these schedules seem really, really tough in the top 12.
As far as another team kind of falling apart, I don't believe so. Tulsa has a pretty tough schedule as well. I believe they have Atlanta and Indy in weeks 13 and 14. So those are 2 tough games for Tulsa. If they can get one of those 2 games won, I think they should be good heading into the playoffs. But those are 2 tough teams, as we're going to see tonight on Impact Monday, Camp.
Absolutely. So that's a look at all the craziness at the top of the league. So let's get back to the whole, well, why is London okay with their loss? Well, let's go to Canton, where Alamo City was in town. Brad Jones, everything was tough for him on this day, including this touchdown run. Put Alamo City up 10-0.
Yeah, Brad Jones was a key pickup for Alamo City, bringing him in, and as we see on this play, putting defenders in taking them to the laundromat with the spin cycle.
Fast forward to the fourth quarter, and Bob Funk is picking off Ace Fennick. Alamo City not able to put away Canton, and that's always dangerous because the Classics play their best football in the fourth quarter, 13-6. Alamo City only up 7, and you could feel the new surge in the stadium.
Yeah, and when you have a defense like Canton's, they've relied on them all season to win games and tried to do it there with another opportunity.
Oh, that is a beautiful one-handed catch from Kendra Wells. Ties the game at 13. Alamo City, anytime you're ready, got to get going, got to get in gear. 5-5. Ace Fennick is picked again. That's Gary Clem, who had another terrific game. So now Canton, after scoring a field goal, all they need is to get a stop. This is a big third down conversion for Fennick, and then on 3rd down and 9, the pass is caught, and Deuce is ruled down at the goal line. A bizarre call, but it may have worked out in Canton's favor. Ace Fennick on the goal line gets sacked, but this is killing time. This is killing opportunities for Canton to get the ball back. They're trying to get a stop. They're trying to get something crazy to happen, but Ace Fennick to Deuce Fennick wins the game for Alamo City.
And what a connection these two have, Cam. We see them on the show week after week, and as we saw in that play there, it helped Alamo City win the ball game.
Alamo City survives. They're 6-5. Houston survives. They're 6-5. They'll play each other in the final week of the season. Ashley Jackson caught up with 2 fan favorites from Alamo City, Rain Rie and Gunny McGuire after the game.
I am joined with 2 fantastic GMs of our league from the Alamo City Artillery. And they are Mr. Gunny McGuire and Mr. Rain Rie. They're also free safety and cornerback for Alamo City as well. I can't talk today. What's going on? Congratulations on the win that you guys came out with. Like, I thought for a minute y'all had lost your touch.
Thank you. You know, it was a hard-fought game, I can tell you that much.
Indeed. Gunny, what'd you think about it?
I thought our playoff shots were almost they almost got shot there near the end when they tied it up 13-3 and then took it over 16-13 late in the game.
So at that point, besides you feeling that way about your playoff chances being kind of stifled a little bit, how else were you feeling? What else did you see that you guys felt that had to occur in order to win? Was there particular?
We just always feel like we're more or we can score more than 13 points a game. We feel like we're pretty good offensive explosion, but we haven't been having it a lot this year. Been in too many close games coming down to the wire.
Gotcha. Do you think that's going to make a playoff? Do you think that's going to play a factor in the playoffs once you guys arrive?
As long as we win next week, I think we're going to be good, and I think we might surprise some people. It's going to be exciting to be maybe whatever seed, 11, 10, 11, 12 seed. I think we're going to have a good game in the playoffs.
Okay.
We're due.
Indeed. Rain, what do you think the secret to Alamo City's success has been thus far?
Well, actually, it's been good coaching. I got to give it up to the coaching right now because the coaches have been putting in game plans after game plans after game plan to make us better. And everything that they're doing, I believe in, gonna believe in, and we all, as a team and a whole, we all believe in.
One more question for you.
Well said, Rain.
One more question for you guys. Describe the Alamo City Artillery's locker room in one word.
Gunny, go first.
Well, being a Marine, I'm going to just go oorah, which means we're just it's a brotherhood. Even with Tina, I mean, we just like it. All 24 of us in the locker room. We're all big one family.
Good deal. Good deal.
Well, you told me to describe it. I'm going to do it in one word. Boom.
Bo would approve of that.
I was just gonna say that. Good stuff, guys. Congratulations on the win, and I cannot wait to see what you guys do for the rest of the season. See you in the playoffs.
Hold on.
All right, thank you.
I got one more thing to say before this.
Yes, sir.
I just want to say that this game was a complete classic. And to who this may concern, we are the kings of the South.
Oh, okay. That part.
That part.
Good luck, y'all.
Thank you much for having us on.
Anytime, brother.
Hate to spoil Rain's party here, but the winner of Fort Worth, Mexico City will have 8 wins, and they will be the Kings of the South. But regardless, Alamo City gets the job done. Canton loses. They're 3-7, but let's focus on London first. They won the North, no problem. We thought maybe Canton would take the next step after a 6-6 season, Paul. They did not, and the Queen City and Motor City stayed in the basement. What's your expectations for London? They were the number 1 seed last year. What's your expectations for them in these playoffs?
As far as my expectations, Cam, I think that London is going to take the next step, and they need to figure out their defense. And if they can do that, not a team in the SFL is going to want to go up against London. And after starting 1-3, Cam, they went on a 5-game win streak. In those 5 games, London is averaging 39 points a game. And I know if I'm going up against a team scoring 39 points a game, it's not going to be a fun night. So I think London may be able to take that next step, and they're going to be an extremely dangerous team come postseason.
I think, Paul, they're an extremely dangerous but flawed team. Are they going to cling to what they know and continue down the path and hope to just have the chips fall where they may, or are they going to try and fix those flaws down the stretch? I think that's the big question for London. Alamo City and Houston, Paul, they're both 6-5. Now they got to wait. Who knows where they're going to fall on the schedule, but at this point, they're just hoping for as many wild card teams to lose as possible next week. Plenty of them have the opportunity to do so, but it's going to be a pretty nerve-wracking bye week for both of those squads next week.
Yeah, and not only do you need help from a couple other teams during your bye week, you also have to prepare for an essentially playoff game for both of these teams, where it may be a last one in to the playoffs type deal, depending on who wins and if they can get the help they need. This Week 14 matchup between Houston and Alamo City, as I mentioned earlier, is going to be one of the best games on Week 14 slate.
I'd be stunned if a 6-6 team got in. It is still mathematically possible. Everyone's got to start losing and losing quick, but it is a reality out there for teams with 6 losses. Canton now has 7 losses, 3-7. Paul, what do you think's next for Canton? They can't be happy with how this season turned out, taking a step back.
Yeah, their defense has been shining for them this season. The offensive woes have continued week after week. They've only scored 152 points in 10 games, Cam. There are 6 other teams in the SFL who have scored double that. So I don't care how good your defense is. If you're only putting up 15 points a game, it's going to lead to a 3-7 record as it has this season.
Yeah, that's a great stat right there. So, we're bummed for Canton. I'll tell you who's positive here after I give a super chat shout out. Jack Wall, $2 super chat. Thanks, Cam. Please destroy my post game interview. It's already programmed. Sorry, Jack Wall with AJ.
Welcome back to PGI, where I am joined with tight end Mr. Jack Wall. He is member of the Canton Classics, who just suffered a loss to. I know, man. I know. Just the Alamo City Artillery in a valiant effort to come back. Oh my gosh, man. Jack, what happened?
As you saw, actually, we were down the entire game, and then the fourth quarter came, and we ended up tying it up. An interception at the right time put us back in field goal range. We kicked the field goal to go ahead with about just over 2 minutes to go. and actually let myself get excited for a moment. And then 2 minutes later, a touchdown by ACA put put our playoff hopes to rest this season. So it was a disappointing end to the game, but it was exciting, and that's all you could ask for in these SFL games. It was up and down, a lot of emotions, and upsetting. But again, at least it was nice to get back in it, feel that excitement, and oh, it hurts. It hurts, but it's one of those good hurt. It made me feel something today.
Right. And because the way I saw it, yeah, like you were saying, like this the first 3 quarters, I didn't know where Canton was, and then y'all exploded in the fourth. And I'm like, oh snap. I put eyes in the chat and everything.
Our
And
defense started to step up. Van with a huge interception today, of all days. By the way, shout out to Van for wearing his son's number. It's always great to see him play well when he's wearing that number 4 on his uniform. And then Bob Funk with the big interception at the end also. But ultimately, yeah, Ashley.
I'm here for you, man. I got my couch is right here. You can come talk to me. I'm
Get the tissues ready. I'll lay down, block out about an hour for me, and I'll bore my soul to you. But yeah, that was a tough one. And really happy for the ACA folks. A lot of good guys over there. The whole Finench family, all 8 of them that they have on that team, and
right.
I think it's only 3, maybe 8. Who knows? One or the other. Yeah, so I mean, again, disappointing that we got eliminated out of the playoffs on a game like that today. But we fought, and that's all you could ask for. We had a chance to win it, and ultimately we didn't. But hey, hats off to ACA and their coaching staff, and they prepared just like we did. So.
Indeed. One more question before I let you go, Jack. What do you think about your season for Canton in its entirety? Like the way everything was played out?
You know what? It was a little after last season, we won obviously our last 4 games to finish 500, and that set us into the off season last year, riding a high, thinking we were going to build off that. So to know that our best case scenario this season is 5-7, if we win out the last 2 games, a little disappointing. And the offense was a little kind of took a step backwards this season. But overall, the defense still looks solid. The team is strong in terms of our bond, in terms of the interpersonal connections that we have, the locker room experience that we have, which is, again, always just what you want in the SFL. Unfortunately, the wins didn't come this season, but everyone can't win every season. So I'm gonna keep my head up, stay positive, and just know that we got a great locker room full of great people. And despite the season not going how we wanted to this year, we'll hold our heads high and finish the season strong and continue to. Well, I'll continue to laugh along the way. I know some people will be a little disappointed, but you can't bring me down.
Indeed. Hey, listen, valiant effort from a valiant crew. You guys are, all stars over there. So I'm sure with the bumps and bruises that you took this season, next season is going to be even better for y'all. All right.
I appreciate the kind words, Ashley. Thanks, and thanks for everything you do for this community. You're the best.
I appreciate it, Jack, but I do it for people like you. So,
making me melt over here.
Well, it's a pleasure to talk to you. I hope to, see how you guys are going to finish up the rest of the season, and to wish the best of luck to you.
Thanks, Ashley, and best of luck to you and the Scorpions the rest of the season this year as well.
All right, Jack. Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.
Such a nice guy, Paul. It's a great interview from Jack Wall, and some good super chats coming in. $2 super chat from Haris. Jack, I'm jealous of your skincare routine. A lot of positivity on Impact Monday. Always, we'd love to see that. And then a $5 super chat from Haris that says Jack looks like the great grandson of the Canton logo. That is fantastically funny. Very, very well said. Back to the highlights as Queen City and Fort Worth did battle. Queen City winless, 0-9, but they've beaten Fort Worth 3 games in a row, and that's a pick in the back of the end zone for GB Wallace. Tie game at 7, 3:25 to go just before the half, and John Lakeman airs it out and perfectly placed to Doug Spelling right over the top of the defense. Queen City has the lead at 14-7, now 14-10 in the third quarter. This is when it started to get sideways, Paul. John Lakeman, 1 pick in the first half, but he was a mess in the second half. 1 pick, there's another one, and Dan Dash, one of the best pick sixes you'll see all season. Oh, that is just beautiful. Fort Worth takes the lead.
A beautiful interception return for a touchdown there, and you might be right, that might be one of the best ones I've seen this season.
Here's another look at it. Dan Dash, just a beautiful spin move. Back-to-back weeks that Dash has returned a pick 6, and a huge shout-out, I forgot earlier in the show. First win as a head coach for Denver head coach Stephon Forge after they made a coaching change a few weeks ago. So shout out to him, gets his first career victory in Vice Wars. 20-14 in the fourth quarter. John Lakeman has another shot. The Queen City defense keeping him in this game, and Lakeman is sacked by Jerry D. Gond. That wasn't the first time he got sacked, and it wouldn't be the last either. Next play, 3rd and 18, Lakeman sacked again by Jerry DeGon. 4 sacks in this one. 1:15 to go. Queen City still has a chance. Oh, and it definitely improved their odds there. Doug Spelling, same play as the first half touchdown, gets that one now 23-21. 1:08 to go. Last chance effort for Queen City. Close but no cigar again. 0-10 on the season. Fort Worth survives, is not upset. It goes to 7-3. Now to Vancouver. This game had it all. Touchdown Sioux Falls early. Made it 7-0. K. Marion. And then 3:23 to go in the first. Tyree off a play fake. Throws an interception. And that's taken back to the house for the score. Pick 6 for Vancouver. And they tied up at 7, 14-7. Christian Brown going long, perfect ball. Justice Blackwell. This is the Christian Brown we saw make the playoff push last season, Paul.
Yeah, that was an absolutely beautiful throw. The arc on it, for it to come down and just for Justice Blackwell, for it to fall into his hands as he's walking into the end zone. Just look at that arc, Cam. Wow, what a throw by Christian Brown.
Pretty ball right over the head of Terrell Davis. Sioux Falls defense struggled with the deep ball all night. Miles Portis squeezes this one inside the pylon. Sioux Falls scored just before the half, 21-14. First halves have not been Sioux Falls' problem, but it's been stuff like this that's been their problem. Christian Brown to James Walters. Yeah, what are you doing? A.J. Levy misses and is missing a step on the back end of the defense. We're tied at 21. This has been their problem, Paul. First play of the second half. Tyree's pass is picked off. Michael Lister. I mean, they have just played terribly in second halves this season. Oh, catch the ball, Jason Williams. That is picked off and wrestled down to the 19-yard line. Sioux Falls, they've had games get away from them in the second half, and honestly, Paul, it's the difference in their season.
Absolutely. We even saw it on Impact Monday with one of the craziest third quarters I think I've ever seen, where Sioux Falls and Julian Tyree just kept turning the ball over, and momentum just totally shifted for them in that game.
Tyree's pass is caught by K. Marion I still don't know how this happened. Off the arm of the defender after the defender dove for the interception. One of the best catches you'll see all season.
That definitely has my vote for, or at least nomination for catch of the season. I don't know how K. Marion caught that, but the hand-eye coordination was on point for Marion on that play.
Laying on his arm, they'd score a touchdown on the drive, but too much Robert Redford in this Vancouver offense, 42-28. In the fourth quarter, Sioux Falls produced 8 total yards of offense. Zach Lay with the pick, and Vancouver takes it 45-28. More scores around the league. Florida continues their surge. They do enough to beat LA 22-17. They're 4-6. They are hanging on for dear life. Otis Boudreau, the hero again for Louisiana. They get the win over Portland in overtime, 19-16. You saw that game on Next Level Sports. Paul, third win by 4 points or less this season. They were 1-5 in those games last season. And, some media pundits always talk about it, Paul. It's the law of averages. If you lose a bunch of close games in one season, you're probably going to win a bunch of close games the next season. It all balances out, and it's balancing out for Louisiana. This season, they are 6-4, and they are your current 12 seed. And for Minnesota, it doesn't matter how you win, just win, baby. They avoid the upset. Colin Hart becomes the fourth running back to 13,000 career yards. And Minnesota gets the job done over a scrappy Jacksonville team. Sultan with the $2 super. Jack Wall rubs his great G-Paws helmet. I'm only saying that on this show because I think that's Tristan Hatley, and you played a great game against Baltimore, so I got to give you your super chat shout out. $5 super chat from Doug Day. Go Nemesis. $5 super chat from Jeff Banfield. Indy is going to show up and show out tonight on Impact Monday. That's coming up next for our YouTube audience. Gunny with the $5 super chat. Salutes to the South Division. All 4 teams will finish season 2,500 or better. ACA, Fort Worth, Houston, Mexico City. Season well played, and I couldn't agree more. And now we finally get to our updated standings, Paul, and it is a mess. Atlanta now controls their own destiny. They are the lone one-loss team left. Baltimore is your number 2. Arizona right behind them. They lost the head-to-head. Tulsa is still in 4th, 7-3, percentage points better than Fort Worth, who still leads the South thanks to their head-to-head win over Mexico City. Tulsa still leads the Central thanks to their head-to-head win over Minnesota. Those 2 teams are right behind them at 6-7. Vegas is 7-3. They fall to 8th. They would still host a playoff game, but if Indy wins tonight, that they could be in trouble and fall even further. Their SOV is a little shaky. 371, Vancouver and London. They are division leaders and division winners, respectively. They're there at the bottom. Louisiana clinging to spot number 12. San Diego on the outside looking in right now. So is Houston and Alamo City. Carolina, by virtue of their head-to-head over D.C., they are in the 16 spot now. D.C. right behind them at 17 at 5-5. Earlier in the show, Blake Brine had a $2 super chat that said over/under on a plus 500 team. That's a 7-5 or better record, missing the playoffs. Paul, where would you put that over/under where the standings are today?
As far as the over/under on how many teams?
Yeah, how many teams missed the playoffs with a 7-5 or better record?
I gotta say at least 3 or 4.
Three or four?
Yeah. As we see, or maybe 2.
You don't. Well, but basically what you're saying, Paul, is you don't expect Indy to lose out. You don't expect Louisiana to lose out. You don't expect San Diego to lose out, and somebody of Alamo City and Houston's getting 7, right? So you just don't expect those things, and there's going to be 7-win teams on the outside.
And as far as what I'm expecting after this weekend, anything's possible. And with the top 4 teams that played this weekend losing. Atlanta better. I know they've seen what's happened this weekend, so I know Atlanta's going to have their guards up against a high-flying Indianapolis offense, and it's going to be a great game.
It is going to be a great game for our YouTube audience. Atlanta and Indianapolis comes your way next. A mini preview with Mike O'Neill off this week, but we've got your stage setting for Atlanta and Indianapolis for everyone on Next Level Sports. You can catch more SFL action all week long, and make sure that you catch Atlanta and Tulsa this upcoming Saturday, Week 13, Season 20 of the SFL. 2 of the top 4 teams in the SFL in a very critical game coming up on the Saturday showcase in week number 13. For our YouTube audience, stay tuned. Atlanta and Indianapolis is coming your way next. This has been This Week in the SFL. For Paul Sarp, I'm Cameron Irvine. We'll see you next week for our weekly recap, and we will be right back after this.